my friends. Welcome to Sort of Brilliant, a show where the characters are made up and Hogwarts house sorting absolutely does matter. My name is Rachel.
And I'm her best friend and co-host, Lauren. Every other week, we're going to invade a fandom and determine whether your favorite character belongs in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin. There's bound to be some arguments along the way.
But in the end, we're always right.
Well, according to us.
According to us. Welcome back to the end of summer and the beginning of school season. As a teacher, I can tell you I'm thrilled, but I'm sure many of you are not. Hopefully we can turn that around with this episode, our back to school episode featuring Legally Blonde. Hi, Lauren.
Legally Blonde. Hi. That was from the musical. We're going to Harvard. Road trip.
What? Like it's hard?
Oh, you did the wrong one. Girls.
Oh, girl.
Girls.
I was trying to tell Lauren.
Girls.
I don't know it.
Girls, I'm going to Harvard. Can we all go? Road trip.
No, I remember now that you
Like
said
on vacay?
I always hated her little brunette friend, I have to tell you.
The cheerleader?
I don't know.
Like her girl?
I don't know. I didn't like her. I liked the other one, the bubbly
blonde
one. Yeah, she was funny.
Yeah. You want to borrow my lucky scrunchie? Yeah,
so cute
because
and
I
dumb.
got an A in Spanish. You got an A in Spanish because you gave Mr. Vasquez a lap dance. Yeah, luckily.
That movie was so good, man. So I was telling Lauren before, I hadn't actually watched this movie, I want to say, since like the mid-2000s. So
Crazy to me.
I sat down to watch it in preparation for this episode, and my husband was walking around upstairs, and he just like starts quoting it from the hallway too, because he knows all the lines. Just comes in, sits on the bed, watches the whole thing with me. Oh, it was great. You can't not be enchanted.
Did he
by
sort?
Legally Blonde.
Did you ask
Yeah.
him to? He did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'd be interested. We haven't had George sorting in a while.
Well, he agreed with me on Elle, and he also wants Warner explained. So your thoughts on Warner?
Oh, okay.
I'd love to hear.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow, you're exposing the fact that we talked about this beforehand. I tried not to.
It would be a little weird if we didn't talk about it a little.
I told you and you hadn't told me, and I was like, okay, cool, so we can just not tell each other before that. And Rachel's like, this is who I think everybody is. And I was like, God damn it.
I don't like the secrecy. It makes me nervous, makes my palms sweat. I like to go in knowing. Well, because, okay, fun fact, today I had anticipated this huge argument. There's a character coming up that we're going to sort like much later. And I was telling Lauren, like, I know what house he's in, but I have this gut feeling that you're going to put him somewhere else. And I thought this was going to escalate into a huge argument. Turns out she has them in the same house. So
I can kind of see why you thought that, though, because when we were talking in the Slytherin episode, when we were talking about Kang, we were both like, I know what house he is. And we were both like saying it. And then afterwards we were like, oh, we're not saying the same house.
Yeah. It's bound to happen. But typically we agree. If you're a longtime listener, you know, I think we've only disagreed once. And we will revisit it.
I was right.
Sure.
How can we revisit?
I still
There's no
don't
more
think
content.
you're right.
There's no more content.
Because we're doing a rewatch of the show that
Okay.
contains this character.
Okay.
And we'll get back to it once I get through those episodes.
Okay.
I'll come back more prepared this time
Mm-hmm.
to beat your ass.
Mhm.
Anyway, fortunately today I think we are mostly in agreement. And it's exciting because Elle Woods, okay.
By mostly in agreement,
is
she
a
means that
fantastic
like
character.
neither one of us are like really solid either way. So we're ready to like
Sure. I'm foldable on this one. Like I'm willing to bend. There are characters I won't. I just won't. But in this movie, yeah,
More like
I
a
can see them going a
discussion.
couple ways.
Yeah.
I do see Elle where I see her though, so I want to hear I really am looking forward to your thoughts. This is something, guys, usually we don't have we try not to have the big chats beforehand. We like to hash it out on the show. It does happen where sometimes we're like paragraphs in and we're like, oh shit, we should save that for the episode.
Mhm.
But we actually did this time.
It's because
So,
Rachel ditched me and went on vacation, so I couldn't have talked to her if I wanted to.
it was my birthday month.
Yeah. Your birthday
I'm
episode.
old.
Clueless.
Oh, so good. The other day, George was telling me sometimes he gets on Discord. George is my husband. Sometimes he gets on
know
Discord with his
this
little nerd friend, and they just read scripts to each other for movies.
Why?
Like they do Austin Powers and all the Marvel movies, and they just do that.
Why?
So I don't know.
Do they record them?
I don't know. He did the Dark Knight for me the other day. No, just for fun. This is
They
guys.
read them out loud to each other?
Yeah. Yeah. So he was just going off doing the fucking Dark Knight one, and I just jumped in with Clueless. I was like, oh my God. So I know you're probably thinking it's a Noxzema commercial. He's like, oh my God. But you don't get to cringe at me after coming at me with the Joker from the Dark Knight, which is a great performance.
I'm reeling that.
However,
groups of men sit around on their computer and read script lines to each other.
And they just
like
die laughing. It's exactly that. They're like theater kids. They're playing like Overwatch or League of Legends, and just I'll just hear like 10 to page 394. I'm like, again, you guys, you have nothing better to do. They love it. They love it. Yeah, they're having fun. What can I say? Well, I prefer to have intellectual conversations about the science of sorting.
This made-up thing that we've done.
It's all
where
good.
Everybody refuses to argue with us. Nobody has come to argue with us. I cannot tell you how disappointed I am.
It's because we're so good at what we do. I believe that. I would like to hear more from people who disagree.
Me too, except I realize that when I really care about it, I get mad. So I don't know.
It happened. I think we talked about it with other friends who had on the podcast. With the nerds are typing.
Yeah, we did talk about it. But
we had comments
I've been taken aback by the people I didn't think I care about who I do.
Really?
Yes. I should not be this invested in Steve Rogers' house, and I get very mad. I don't care about him as a person, but I get really mad.
The Marvel ones took you by surprise.
Well, see, I mean, if somebody was like Tony's a Ravenclaw, I'd be like, he's not, but I don't think I would get like incensed about it. I get like
I would.
Yeah, but I get furious about Steve. I'm like, what? I just like I don't know what more I can say to you. Like,
I don't know if there's any that took me by surprise. I mean, the supernatural ones I'm pretty scary over. I get real upset.
Yeah, but luckily everybody else is basically in the same.
Yeah, or they've written us off like
they're just
leave
like,
them alone.
I followed those assholes a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think now if I really. Oh, I would not have liked if someone told me Veronica Mars was something other than.
Oh yeah, but nobody's ever tried to do that. So I've never.
No, but I would have been, and Logan anything other than a Gryffindor, I would have been like, "Are you fucking what?" But thankfully, yeah.
Oh, somebody recently was. I was having a conversation with somebody who I was like, "Oh yeah, and Edward Cullen's a Gryffindor," and she's like, "No, he's not." And I was like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "Wait a minute, what is this feeling in my chest?" I was like, "What do you think she is?" And she was like, "A Slytherin," and I went, "Excuse me."
Yikes! He'd be the worst Slytherin ever. He'd flunk right out of school
already. Are you kidding me?
Get kicked from the house. Oh man, no, he'd
be fucking laying in a snowbank in Alaska, like under 5 feet of snow.
Dude, again, tangent of a husband story, but George puts Twilight on because it does something to my weird teenage soul from 2008 when Twilight comes on. I'll be like, you have my full attention. And Netflix has them all now. So he randomly put on New Moon the other day, which I was pissed about because it's the Jacob movie. But he puts it on at the part where like they're sitting in class and the teacher's like, Mr. Cullen, are you listening? And Edward just looks at him with a smirk, recites the whole part from Romeo and Juliet. Like, you dramatic little bitch. Unbelievable, Gryffindor. Get out of here. Well, today is not about Edward Cullen. No,
it's not about
sometimes that it were. I do love him. That's okay. It's about Elle Woods. We're fun.
Elle Woods. She would be gracious, but disappointed that we have chosen to spend her time talking about other people.
I know. She deserves better.
Yeah.
I would like to only spend a little time on Warner. But
such an interesting character. Like, I fucking hate him.
Really?
I think he is.
You think he's interesting?
I think he's interesting. Like, to be that callous towards other people and, like, be extremely unbothered by it is interesting. He's not a sociopath. Do you want to start with Warner? Because now I'm fired up. Sure.
Okay. I don't think that Warner is unconcerned with the feelings of other people. I think he's not concerned with the feelings of Elle because he thinks Elle is stupid. He just thinks she's dumb.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, she'll bounce back. She's a Barbie dumbass. It was my vibe from him. Because I think he cares about Vivian's feelings. You don't think
No.
so? He doesn't want her to like think he's still into Elle.
He
Or,
absolutely.
Like, he's very worried with other people's opinions of
He
him.
flirts with Elle in front of her several times.
I guess it's that.
And Vivian's professor, what's his name,
Mhm.
is barking orders at her to go get him coffee or taco sauce.
Yeah.
And Warner's like, yeah, go do it. Like, he does not.
So maybe he's just a misogynist, though.
Well, yeah, I would say that is a big part of his character. But.
Well, I will say
Yeah, I mean,
he's callous. That's
and
for
also,
sure.
like, I always thought it was super interesting that he, like, does not suck up to Emmett. Like, I feel like Emmett would have been an easy, like, target.
Yeah.
And he doesn't.
I think
So-
Warner thinks his work speaks for himself.
Well, but that's also what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't consider others, which, like, rules out Slytherin right away. Like, he just does not factor them into his planning. Like, he doesn't.
Right, even the people. Well, you know, it's interesting because we don't get to see him with people he cares about. He doesn't care about any of those
Yeah,
people.
well, that's true. He didn't care about anybody. I saw him within the movie.
Right, so we do have to go off of what we get, and I do think he's very concerned with his image.
Yes,
though, like,
yeah, with
the
his
outside
family.
perception
Yeah,
of him.
my brother married a Vanderbilt, for Christ's sakes. Like, yeah,
Which can be very Slytherin. They're concerned about how you look to other people.
but he doesn't. He's, again, it's not. Like, you said it already. He's sure of how he looks already. He just wants to, like, live up
Keep
to his
hyping it up.
family or whatever. But he's not concerned
Yeah.
about what other, like, he's like, I want to be a senator, so I need a Jackie and not a Marilyn. Like, I'm
Right.
telling you, I guess I'll do it. He is a Ravenclaw, and he's following a
Right.
system. This is how I fit in to the rich lawyer, you know, politician. Like, this is what I need to do in order to do those things. And it literally, like, he breaks up with Elle, immediately goes home, immediately gets engaged to his prep school girlfriend, starts calling her Pooh Bear, is like,
Yeah.
he goes to Harvard. His dad gets him into Harvard. He didn't even make it in. His dad had to make a call. Like,
That is true.
He's going through, like, the motions. Like, he literally, he does not. He's following a system and a truth. He's like, I want to be a senator. So
funny. He's literally following.
He's literally like, there's not much to him, which is so. And I mean, like Rachel already said, we don't see a ton of him. It would be really interesting to see his interactions with his family, like what that dynamic is. And I can't believe that I actually genuinely want to see that, but I do. I would like to see.
Well, we like to analyze characters. Me
well,
too.
like,
I'd like to know more
but
too.
I would love to see that dynamic with his family. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Since he obviously wants to fit into that mold that he thinks they want.
I just want to be careful about the phrasing of saying callous and doesn't care about other people's feelings, just because friends of the same house may feel like, hey, I care about other people's feelings and I'm not callous, you know?
Well, I'm talking about Warner, not Ravenclaws in general.
Ah, you're right. I'll give you that. Yeah, I'm a little wary about it just because we do have a couple Ravenclaw friends.
So you
I don't
only
want
care about the
all-
Ravenclaws we know, not the ones we don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're out here batting for Ravenclaws when every other week you're like, Hufflepuffs are so weird and how they just hate everybody.
They are weird. They are
Maybe
weird,
our
but like
Hufflepuff friends
Ravenclaws, you expect the
Are a
weirdness.
little offended by the fact that you think they can just switch off the liking people in their brain.
Our Hufflepuff friends agree with me.
Well, have you talked to the Ravenclaw?
Our Ravenclaw friends are the ones who are like, disagree.
Okay, so you're scared of them, is what your problem is.
I am a little bit. A little intimidated by Ravenclaws, gotta tell ya. I would love to be a Ravenclaw. Beautiful brains, except for Warner, who I don't love or respect or fear.
Okay, so I don't see how that's any different than me saying Warner is callous, and you're like, not all Ravenclaws. Like, calm down,
Okay,
Rachel.
I was just being
Calm
the opposite,
down.
which is my house and worrying about what other people are going
Oh
to
my
say. I don't
God.
want to hurt anyone.
Meanwhile, all the hype is out there, like, every Slytherin's a bad person. And I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but we speak against that pretty frequently.
Okay, I feel like we have spoken against any Ravenclaw. I am deeply...
Have we?
I don't know.
Have we?
I don't know. We haven't had
We
a
don't
lot of-
actually have
I mean, every other Ravenclaw
opportunity.
that we've had has been super cool. So this is the first shitty one.
That's
Yeah.
true. That is true. Yeah, he's a trash bag. I do think a Slytherin could treat someone like that though, the way he treated Elle. if you deem them stupid enough, I can see
her
it.
for whatever reason, but I don't even know if he was really using her. He was just like, this is something to do.
Probably for sex.
Well, he wasn't using her to like get anywhere. He was just like, this is an interlude in my undergrad experience. Hot girl.
Yeah.
And then, and like he didn't. That's the thing too. I don't know that he wouldn't have. I feel like he would have married Elle if he could have made it work. He just couldn't. So he like just dropped her. So it was like easy for him.
Yeah, he would have had like a housewife on his own. Yeah, he doesn't make great social connections at all. You can tell he doesn't care about them.
Nope.
Which is pretty Ravenclaw.
I grew up across the street from Aaron's Spelling, Warner. I'm far from trailer trash.
And she has a great point. She's loaded. She's gorgeous. She's in a prestigious school. She's everything, but it's still just not enough for Warner and Warner's family. Ugh. And I will say, I see, like, in some Ravenclaws I know, a little bit of that, like, not caring really what other people think so much, like, in their personal relationships. They'll just kind of be like, okay, well, this is me. These are my unpopular opinions. This is how I feel. And if it doesn't make sense to you, oh, well. I'm sorry it doesn't make sense to you.
And
but.
I mean, and also you were, like, painting this as a bad thing. But in a person that's not Warner, I wouldn't call it callous, but Ravenclaws do I wish I had this ability, have an amazing ability when they're not connected to somebody or don't care about somebody. It's so easy for them to walk away. We talk about this with Britta, and she's going to be the first person to, like, she's connected to the group, and she's still going to be the first person that's like, see ya. Or Charlie, he'd be like, get out of my bar. Like, I can run it on my own.
Absolutely. A big mark of the Ravenclaw for me is, like, can you walk away from people and be okay? Really okay independently. They're the people that'll get on the plane, go to Costa Rica, start a new life over there, explore their passions, be totally fine with it. Like, the other houses would be crying about their families and their significant others. Ravenclaws are out there chilling with the margarita.
Like, that Ravenclaws don't love people. They do, and they forge connections with people, and they'll a lot of them will probably go back eventually, or will feel something. It's just that the system.
I think they have to explore what they want first.
Yeah, the system and their truth overrides everything else. They're like, I'm gonna do this first, and it's ultimately for them. It's what they're following. So they're like, you need to let me find myself and give me my space, and I'll come back when it's good for me. And you're like, all right.
And it's something people think of Slytherins.
Yeah, and I was just thinking that. That's why I was pausing, because I was like, wow, like, we call Gryffindor and Hufflepuff the emotional house, and Ravenclaw and Slytherin the intellectual house. And if you were, like, following that line, you'd be like, oh, Gryffindor and Hufflepuff are like the I need people house, and Ravenclaw and Slytherin are like the, like, yeah, I could do without him. And, like, Slytherins love to say that, and we are, like, majorly, but when people get under our skin, that's not the case at all. Like, we're worse than Gryffindors, I think, almost, in the sense of when somebody gets under our skin.
Because you guys get to a point of possession.
Yeah.
Of owning, and you don't like seeing people with your person, or, like, if it gets that intense.
You don't like not being around that person. Like,
yeah. Slytherin's a very needy house. They're just really good about hiding it. Like,
because it's only a couple good people. At it. We're not out there like, everybody needs to like me and you need to validate me.
And I would say that Ravenclaws have that in common too, though. Ravenclaws have people that they care about, and if you get under their skin, it's the same way as a Slytherin. Like, it's hard for them to shake you. Imagine, like, a Ravenclaw with a child, or a Ravenclaw with, like, a long marriage or something. They're with their people.
Here's the thing. Like, I almost feel like it's a connection it's like the other person calling the Ravenclaw back, They're like, hey, I'm still here, and I really care about you. And the Ravenclaw's like, oh, yeah. Like, I know that, but, like, oh, you've reminded me to come out of my head.
I wonder if Ravenclaws are often, like, surprised by what they feel in situations like that. Like, if the person's calling them back or not, if they feel, like, pulled emotionally towards someone, if they're like, what's this? This is weird. I'll have to ask some of them how they feel about that. Like, is it strange for you when you make a deep emotional connection?
And you feel
I know, like, my husband's a Ravenclaw. He can literally, he'll be in his, like, workspace in the basement for hours and hours and hours. I won't hear from him, won't see him. He's tinkering. I hear hammering. I hear buzzsaws. I hear whatever. And then he'll come up, like, at 10 o'clock and go, where have you been all day? Like,
I guess.
I missed hanging out with you today.
Yeah.
You were gone.
I guess that's the thing I think about Ravenclaws. Like, Slytherins and Hufflepuffs and Gryffindors, the people are always kind of there in their head. And out of all of them, I think Slytherins maybe can focus the most on themselves past other people, but other people are still there in their heads. Like if I went to Jamaica for a bit, I'd start being like, I miss this one person that I care about or whatever.
Sure.
But I think Ravenclaws, I think they have this super unique ability to be like, again, it's like following the system, following the truth, and they focus on that, and they like do it for themselves. And it's like, it's like a wanderer and like, like, I don't know, like traveling the world and doing the, discovering all the new things or whatever. And like, they need the people to call them back, or they're totally content.
I think
there's here's the thing too. I think they're like confident in the fact that they don't need to be around people for people to be thinking about them. So it's people actually reaching out and saying, "Hey, I'd love to see you," where they're like snapped out and they're like, "Oh, I like that wasn't something that I realized." And now I come back. Yeah.
And I think I don't want to make too bold a statement, like saying Ravenclaws are the best parents of all the houses. But I will say Ravenclaws make really, really fantastic parents, and I think a lot of it has to do with raising a child is one of the greatest discoveries of life, and you get to literally have your hand in all of it. It's like the greatest experiment of all. They're an experiment. I'm calling them an experiment, okay? Cheesy. That's cheesy.
This is also, I guess, like when people become your truth. Those Ravenclaws become a bit different too, right? Or like when family is your system. I don't think we've had one of those yet. Those are going to be weird.
No.
Anyway, back to Warner, who's a shit weird ones. Yeah, well, they're gonna be so different than the majority of their houses.
That's true. Yeah. Well, listen,
who are in the
Ravenclaws are a mixed
pursuit
bag.
of like knowledge and competency.
None of the ones we've done or know are extremely like one another. I mean, they're all very different people.
But none
very
of the
different.
ones that I can think of yet have like been entrenched in
family as a system.
Yeah, and like other people.
No, I don't know if we will find one.
Actually, I might
have
just thought of one.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You'll have to tell me later. But either way, I've been convinced on Ravenclaw Warner. I can see it now.
Oh, we don't have to talk about him anymore?
Please, let's move on.
We barely talked about him to begin with. We went off on a tangent.
Well, because I really wanted to hear it.
Ravenclaws.
I really hate Warner.
Oh my
sorry.
God. I hate Warner too. Oh, I thought you were gonna say I hate or you hate Ravenclaws. How dare you accuse me of that?
No, but Warner is a real trash bag of a character.
I will be insanely open to anybody of anyone. Ravenclaw is the house that I'm gonna fight with the most, but I love it. Like you're gonna frustrate the hell out of me, but I love Ravenclaw.
Because they won't move.
Yeah, move.
Nah, they won't move.
I love it.
They will not
I will
budge.
tell you that I've been in an Android Apple fight with George for the past like 6 years, where he just makes stupid comments about Apple,
Yeah,
and I'm not even invested, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. I don't like Android that much, and then all of a sudden George is like, actually, Apple is better after like 6 years. But will he admit anything to me? No, he will not. He will not say a word.
No,
to me.
he won't say it's better. He will say though that he'll buy an iPhone to play with it and to see how he feels about it now though. Has to experiment with
Mac,
it.
Whatever.
I know. Yeah. Well, he won't budge. You got to go around him. Listen, there's an art form to dealing with these people. Okay?
Wow.
There's an art to it. I've mastered it in my marriage. They're fucking crazy. I love them. Okay. Except Warner. Next on the docket. Shall we save Elle for last? Save the best for last? Or would you like to dive into it?
I'm following your lead.
Oh, okay. I'm going to save her for last.
Okay.
So let's do Vivian.
Okay.
Now, I told you what I think of Vivian.
You did.
Do you agree?
No.
All right. I had Vivian for Gryffindor.
Uh-huh. Why?
Because she so badly wants to prove herself as being worthy of being there, proving herself as intelligent. And she is so threatened by Elle's presence, even though she won.
Mm-hmm.
She has to keep flaunting it and putting it in her face. And that insecurity, like to the point of even with the miscommunication where she's being hit on by the professor. And Vivian doesn't like wait to see the second after where Elle turns him down. She immediately is like, whore. And that overreaction screamed Gryffindor to me. So for me, it was the insecurities, the overreacting, and also how badly she did just like want to be friends with Elle at one point when she realized that Warner was trash. And she immediately like switched sides and felt so bad about ever having a bad word to say about her. I feel like it's pretty Gryffindor. So
okay, like basically all those reasons are why I have her in Hufflepuff. Because I saw Vivian's community as like the upper crust lawyer community, and she was trying to fit into that. Why did she? Warner came back from undergrad, after dating another girl for 4 years. They hadn't dated since prep school. He proposed to her, I guess, immediately after this 4-year interlude, and she says yes right away. I
don't know how Hufflepuff that.
Are you kidding me? To fit into that group? She wants a space in this upper class lawyer. You know, she's throwing a party and she's like, bring the Merlot and we're going to wear pearls and it's going to be like a Harvard party. She immediately says yes to Warner, who is from a good family. She is defending Warner against Elle, and she's doing it in a fairly misogynistic way. Like
You think she defends him?
No,
I think she just flaunts herself.
She's immediately protecting Warner from Elle. She immediately expects Elle to come after Warner in a, like, promiscuous way. She's, like, waiting for that to happen. Obviously, Warner has said things to her that have influenced what she thinks of Elle or whatever, but she believes Warner, and she is immediately, not nice to Elle before Elle even knows who she is. So she's mean to her off the bat. She's, like, putting her ring finger right in Elle's face the first time that they meet or whatever. She's, like, she's protecting that, and she's also, I think, doing the thing that Hufflepuffs do, where they're like, you're not a person. She's already decided this about Elle, so it's easy to come in and do that and be that way to her, because I don't think Vivian is that type of person normally to other women. Like you said, at the end, she's pretty, like...
Becomes a girl's girl.
And she comes to Elle. Like, do you see the way the professor is asking us to always get him fucking coffee? And, like, why?
She wanted to bond with her.
Yeah, she did. She was coming... After she realized that Elle wasn't after Warner anymore... And I think she was also starting to get the idea that Warner wasn't great. So, I mean, and I saw she's just trying to cultivate this image of being part of this specific group. Like, that's what she wants. That's why she's going to marry Warner out of nowhere. Like, how much had they talked since they broke up in prep school? And, like, why did they break up? And, like, so that's why she wants to marry Warner out of nowhere. And she's throwing these parties. And she's... she's being mean to Elle, and then Elle fights back one time, and she's like, oh, she's awful. And her friend's like, don't worry, honey, you got the ring. And, like, that's what matters, is that she has that symbol. It doesn't even matter that Warner's in the other room, maybe talking to Elle. You've got the ring. And then when she sees Elle and I think it's Professor Hall, right? I don't freaking remember his name.
I think Mr. Hall's clueless.
Is it? Oh, it's that's what I'm thinking of. What's his name? Anyway, when she sees him hitting Hunter and she doesn't stay to look back, I think what happened is, this is how I was thinking of Vivian earlier. She's not a person that switches her community. She's not a Cass who goes from, I want to be part of heaven to I want to be with humanity or whatever. She's more like a Thor. She's like switching how she looks at her role in the community. So she's not switching the community. She's switching how it can be looked at. So she thought, to be this fancy lawyer lady, she should marry a guy who's the same status, and she should go to Harvard and have these fancy parties, and she should get the internship or whatever. And then here Elle comes, who is like, fuck Warner, fuck wearing these black and the pearls and the whatever, like, fuck all this or whatever, and I'm blonde and it doesn't matter. I can be a really, really great lawyer this way and being true to myself. And I think Vivian saw that, and that's when she started to try to bond with Elle, where she was like, I can fit into this group in a way that is true to myself without having to do all this other shit that is, like, being misogynistic towards Elle and being nasty to her and all that stuff. And then when she sees Elle doing that, I think she feels a little betrayed because she doesn't stay to stick around. She should have, or she should have asked Elle about it. But I think she had started to get this idea that you could be somebody powerful being who you are, and then it's like, it looks like Elle's sleeping with him. So she's like, what the fuck? Like, you mean
Professor Callahan.
Yeah, Professor Callahan. There you go.
Thank
you for listening to me, but not listening to me. But
no, I did. The image popped in my head. No. I was listening and the scene popped into my head.
I think she's like slightly betrayed by the fact that maybe she can't do what she wants to do the way Ella's doing it, and that she's like, I do have to marry this dickbad Warner, and I do.
I think you've got me as far as the wanting to belong somewhere, right? Because that does seem to be the core motivation. I just feel like so many of her problems come from, I guess, yes, wanting to belong to the community, but I just think she's a deeply insecure person. I really do.
You don't have to be insecure to be a Gryffindor. Or all insecure.
But when that insecurity motivates every goddamn thing you do.
But it's insecurity in belonging. It's not insecurity.
Right. There's the belonging factor.
It's not.
Because
insecurity in herself.
She's mad about Callahan making her get the coffee. She's so happy when they call on her for a question she can answer correctly. I think she's kind of an Annie Edison Hufflepuff, huh?
I guess a little. I mean, like, in the first bit of...
No, it's a lot, girl.
I mean, in the first bit of gossip she shares is that Warner doesn't even get into the college on his own, that he had to make a call. She's, like, sharing with Elle, like, we both made it in on our own. Like, Warner had to get somebody.
That's very revealing. Yeah. Another little Annie Thor headband in a college preppy girl. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I didn't think of her. I think I may be blinded by my youth viewing of Vivian, where I went from really hating her and being like this insecure biatch to like really liking her at the end and going, oh, so sweet. Like, she's a good friend and yay. Yeah, I didn't think about her needing to belong somewhere.
And like,
because I didn't think she cared about belonging to Warner.
No,
because obviously she really doesn't. So I think put Hufflepuff to the side.
She's trying to be a woman in lawyer world, you know?
Yeah,
and she was like, and the best way that I can grab that kind of power is, I guess, to be the wife to a man in a lawyer world, and then kind of build off of that from there. And that's how I should build that image. I was just thinking too, though, the reason that she goes to Elle is because Elle won't give it the alibi, and Warner's like, hey, if you give up the alibi, you know, Professor Callahan will probably make you a partner, and like, who cares about this chick? Just do it. Like, it doesn't even matter. And Vivian's like, what the fuck, man? And then she goes to Elle about it. So I really think it's like the turning point is like her disgust in the way that she's chosen to be a part of the group. And she's like, Ella's doing it another way, and I want to do it that way. Yeah.
Okay, you turned me.
I did feel slightly strongly about Vivian. I did not see her anywhere else.
Okay.
So.
That's fine. I didn't feel too strongly about her. so it's fine. I don't know. I certainly couldn't put her in a logic house. I knew she had to be one of the feeling ones because I don't see a Ravenclaw or a Slytherin wasting their time that way. Like flashing the ring, I don't see
Maybe
it.
Maybe a Slytherin could
those houses.
But she would have.
You'd have to be pushed really far.
I was also going to say she would have had to end up in a different place. Like if Vivian ended up like with this huge position, and she had somehow orchestrated it so that she got this like position at a law firm and like dumped Warren, and like, but it didn't. She just ended up. I think the flashcards are like she gets a job after school, and it's a good job, and she and Elle remain friends or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like Hufflepuff to me. I think it could have been a Slytherin if it was like it turned out like, you know, Vivian used Warner to, you know, get through Harvard, and you know she was just being a dick to Elle because you're possessive. That's what you do when you have plans going on. But
I know, but I don't think a Slytherin would show their cards that much of how deeply like insecure she was coming off. She was coming off very insecure with the ring and the flashing and making her dress up as a bunny and all this like really petty shit she did. I think Slytherins are a little more underhanded. A little more.
I will give you that, but it like I said, it would depend on how it ended, and like when you end and then you go back and you're like, how calculated was all this shit? And none of Vivian's was calculated. It was like
no, all very feeling centric. Yeah. All right. So we've got a Ravenclaw and a Hufflepuff. Interesting. Ooh, Lauren, another couple.
Yay!
Whoa, we've been looking for you guys.
They weren't a good romantic pairing, obviously, but
no. They would have been a marriage of convenience.
They were almost a little toxic. Like, Warner should not have been letting Vivian act that way towards Elle.
No, and he doesn't even care.
He doesn't. And then Elle's like, remember when we spent 4 hours in a hot tub after senior prom? And he's like, yeah, I do. Like, you know, Vivian should have been like, okay, let's not, why are you doing this now? We're engaged. This is great. Like, neither one of them.
No, I don't think they really cared about each other. Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, what a duo. Yeah, look how toxic it can get. It can get really crazy up in there.
It's not to say
Well, why not? Fucking Gryffindors and Slytherins can get crazy toxic too.
Yeah, like, we don't see a lot of these, so let's just be careful. Dash and Lily was beautiful. It was weirdly beautiful. I don't understand how they work. I still cannot understand how those two specific Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff types work together.
I think we said that a lot in our episode.
We were so baffled.
I don't get it.
We were so baffled.
But it did work. Yeah. It's a nice coupling. We don't have any... No, we do have a Hufflepuff Slytherin couple. I just don't like them together.
Were you thinking of Jacob and Bella?
No, okay. Jeff and Annie.
Okay.
We have no Ravenclaw Gryffindor couples. None. 0. So far.
You're right.
Where are you guys?
We have like no Ravenclaws.
So.
I'm just thinking of Charlie and Dee, which is an amazing.
Oh,
and I wouldn't be mad if they did have sex once, and it was weird, and it was toxic sex. But like,
yeah,
when they were playing the fucking
chaos.
RPG game, it's like,
oh my god,
Dee, why did you have sex
good.
with Charlie? He's a trash man. He's the king.
Okay. Thank God we have one Ravenclaw Gryffindor, but I'm looking forward to finding more because that is my actual relationship in real life. And I'm like, where are all the people that represent us? Okay, Charlie and Dee from It's Always Sunny.
Who aren't even really a romantic parent at all, but
no. I'll stay on the lookout. Okay, Vivian sorted and Mr. Emmett. Who? Oh my God! Sometimes I just like look at him in that role and I just can't believe he's Owen Wilson's brother. I don't know why. It completely throws me up.
I can't believe that the internet just discovered Owen Wilson. I'm like disgusted. Where did all these people come from?
Where were you?
I was like, what? He's been in like every comedy. He was one of the 7. The Steve Carell. Yeah. He was one of the 7.
He was huge. Yeah. First of all, fucking watch Zoolander. Where have you been? Hansel.
Meet the Family. He's Kevin.
Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers is a huge one. Wedding Crashers.
Night at the Museum.
He makes out with Rachel McAdams. Not Mandy Moore.
Yeah.
They're like the same. When they're both brunette, they're like the same person.
It's the same vibe as like people not knowing who Vince Vaughn is. I'd be like, what? How do you not know who these people are? But yeah, Emmett is a really nice, solid character. Mm-hmm. He's very calming. He soothes me as I watch him. I really would love an Emmett in my life.
You can tell they clearly wrote him to like be unobtrusive. They were like, we want to give Elle someone nice, but this story isn't about Elle and Emmett. Like, yeah, it's like really.
I really like that. It is nice. I mean, when she sits and talks to him on the bench, she's just like so worked up, and her ponytail's flopping everywhere, and he's like, what's up?
It's like,
what do you need?
He made me cry once, but I waited till I got back to my dorm. Like,
Now, he's not big and beefy and dumb, so I can't call him a himbo, but he gives me like little vibes of that, like a little bit, a tad.
You said that, and I made it was like a little bit of a George of the Jungle. Like, you just see how he's sitting there, and
he is
Brendan Fraser a little bit. Like,
oh man, yeah, he is though. He's a very, very nice character. I don't know. It wasn't one where, like, I think it's like, as you say, they want him to be unobtrusive because you don't sit there going, I hope they make out and, like, I hope they get together. But you're like, that would be so nice if they did. What a pleasant couple.
Way, like, he sits next to her on the bench and she's like, are they always just so mean to you? And she's, like, venting about the professors. He gives her some really good advice. And then Warner shows up and she's immediately like, bye, it was so nice to meet you. And you can tell he's like, oh, bye. Like, yeah, you know, like, whatever. This hot guy's got her, whatever. But then the next couple of times you see him, it's when she like does her little mad girl, like she's in the bunny suit and she's like, I'm going to be serious. And she's buying the laptop and he's standing behind her in the store in her bunny outfit.
And he's like, okay.
And she's like, don't say a word. And he's like, I wasn't gonna. Like, he's just standing. Yeah. And then when she turns in her resume to Professor Callahan and Professor Callahan like hands it over to him and he's like, what's this? He's like, her resume. He's like, what's that smell? He's like, it's scented. He's like, it smells nice. Like, you know, he's just like totally unobtrusive. He's like, okay. And then and it's so funny too, because it's not till the end of the movie you really learn who he is. Like, they go into the case and he's like, this is Emmett. You've probably seen him wandering around campus. He's one of my legal aides or whatever. And I was like, oh, like she didn't even know. She's like, hi. And like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just so sweet. And like I love their conversation in the car when they're on the way to the spa. This is where I got what I think Elle is, because I was between the two. But you know, they're talking about, you know, she doesn't want to give up the alibi, and he's like, why not? And she's telling him, and he's really like respectful of it, even though he's like, well, this is kind of the stuff you have to do. But then they also have a conversation where they're going to see the ex-wife of the guy who got shot. So she's at a spa, and somehow they get on the topic that she's Elle's like her icky brown hair. And Emmett's like, you know, why are you discriminating against her? She's like, why shouldn't I? I get discriminated against for being blonde. And like they're talking about that sort of thing. And she calls him a butthead, and he's like, butthead? He's like, I haven't been called a butthead since the 3rd grade. Like, he's just rolling. He's just a really solid, nice guy. Like,
I know.
He's like talking to her and like letting her do her thing, and you know.
And he so obviously admires her from the very beginning. He's so intrigued by her. We
haven't talked about Legally Blonde 2 at all, and we probably won't. Like, Vivian and Warner aren't in that one, but Emmett is a little bit. And, like, the plot of that one is totally jumping the shark, but she goes to D.C. to pass a law to stop animal testing, makeup on animal testing or whatever. And she's about to get married to Emmett, so she's planning her wedding, and Emmett, like, lets her go down to D.C. He's teaching up in Boston. He just, like, lets her go to D.C., lets her do her thing, is not bothered. They were supposed to get married at Fenway Park, and, like, that doesn't end up happening because she's stuck in D.C., and he's totally unbothered by it or whatever. He's just, like, rolling with whatever his wife wants to do. Like, the end of the movie,
always rolls.
He's like, so, what do you want to do? He's like, you want to live in D.C.? You want to live in Boston? Like, where do you want to go next? And, you know, she, like, looks at the White House and is like, I think I know, and, like, winks, and that's the end of the movie or whatever. But, like,
Lord.
But, like, Emmett is just, like, he's a fucking professor at Harvard, and he's like, where you want to go, sweetie?
Yeah.
Where you want to live? Like, okay, man, you're just going to give up your tenure or whatever?
Yeah, he'll just roll with it. So, for me, I could not. Obviously, let's knock Ravenclaw out. I can't and
not Slytherin either.
No, I can't see Slytherin either. So I put him right in Hufflepuff. I don't know about everybody else.
Everybody else
here.
The thing is so hard about it. This is what you've all been waiting for us to sort Emmett. I don't know. He was kind of a little difficult for me. It would be between.
Was he?
It would be between Hufflepuff and Gryffindor. And how Gryffindor though? He's not. I don't find him particularly passionate. I find him more a pursuer of justice because he immediately knocks Callahan out. Yeah. He's like, I don't give a shit. Elle is like gonna take over this case now. You're a pervert. I don't even know if it's you're convincing me, but I kind of like the one like.
Oh, just give it to me.
The one criticism that I had of Emmett was when she was leaving and she was like, I was just, you know, like sexually assaulted, and Emmett's like, no, come on, you can't let him win, like stay. And she's like, they're never gonna take me seriously, like I'm not gonna stay. And he like just kind of lets her go. Like, I mean,
again, rolling with it though,
I guess, but then he didn't confront Callahan. He didn't go like, I quit. They went to talk to
that's what I'm saying.
To talk to Brooke, and then he's like, Callahan hit on her, so she quit. And Brooke's like, that sucks. And Vivian's like, oh my God, I got it totally wrong. And then all of a sudden, Emmett's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You're an asshole. And I'm like, where the fuck was this when you could have been yelling at your boss? Yeah. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, he
was the supervising attorney for her. So I guess.
He needs to be, he couldn't lose his shit so much there. But I think a Gryffindor would have.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Immediately lost their shit.
Why I got turned around. I was going to say, the reason I was thinking that he was a Gryffindor is because he does, I guess it is a justice thing, though. He does have a pretty strong sense of what he thinks is right? Mm-hmm. Like, he was pretty, I thought he was pretty impressed with Elle that she wasn't giving up the alibi. Even though he was like, you need to give it us so we can do our job. I think he was like, I respect the fact that you're not doing it. Like, that's a you thing.
Right.
So, like, I feel like he had a pretty solid sense of right and wrong. But
yeah, but I think the right and wrong is justice based.
What is
like what
community?
Well, I think it's important to him to be in the academic space and to be respected in his position. I think that's very important to him, not to be regarded for it or to be given like accolades for it. He doesn't need to be noticed, but I think his job is important to him. I think what he does is important to him.
He didn't start as a professor. He was a legal.
I know, he built his way up. Yeah. So I think his career is really important to him. So I would say that.
Like teaching others.
Yeah, I do think that means a lot to him. Um, and I don't know if Elle becomes like his community. Like, not really. I don't think so. I think he
I mean,
just
he trusts
really
her
adores her.
completely. He questioned about when she was like, this guy's gay, and Callahan was like, that's stupid.
Mm,
He went up and did it. So
yeah, he did. He believes in
yeah.
her. He has a lot of faith
And
in
I will
her.
say, I know we're not talking about the musical and we're not treating it as canon, but he in the musical, he is the one that is like when she decides that she wants to get serious, he's the one who's like studying with her and like helping her and pushing her.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can see that
Yeah,
though.
that's like his whole song in the musical. It's like a 5-minute song where he's like,
I think obviously I beyond community, I think his whole thing is being useful in some way, which
in
is hugely
some
Hufflepuff. Come
way.
on. Being useful to Elle, being useful to the team, being useful as a lawyer, being useful as an assistant professor, whatever he's doing. Like, he's always there to lend a piece of advice, a helping hand, be supportive, be useful in that moment. It screams Hufflepuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving me very Hufflepuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I think he works out so well with Elle,
Okay.
because I think with her house,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're a great combo.
But we don't.
With what I
yeah,
think
I was
her
gonna
house
say. I
is.
was gonna say we don't agree on their house, but
It's so interesting. I can't wait to hear why. Ah,
are we done
okay.
talking about Emmett? He's not really in the movie.
Yeah, Emmett's done.
Yeah.
Emmett's done. So Elle,
Emmett's done.
real quick. We'll just tell you where we land, just real quick, because I'm gonna hear Lauren's argument for the first time right now. I think Lauren already knows. I put her in Slytherin,
Mm-hmm.
and I think she can probably suss out all the reasons why. Now, Lauren puts her in
Gryffindor.
And I really need to know why.
I mean, because
I can't see it.
Slytherin or Gryffindor. Why can't you see it? She's extreme. Like, a lot of this is going to sound like Slytherin stuff.
She's too level-headed.
You have such a bad image of your house.
Go look at all of the Gryffindors we have and find one that's level-headed.
Hermione Granger.
I don't have her on my list. I'm talking about the characters we've sorted. Hermione loses her fucking shit.
She is
Get out of here.
a majority of the time.
Oh,
and
yeah?
You know what?
When Ron pisses her off, is she level-headed?
When does Elle not lose her shit? When she's in the freaking restaurant screaming her brains out because Warner broke up with her, and he's like, she ate a bad salad. And she's like, so you broke up with me because I'm too blonde? And she like marches out, and then he's like, get in the car, you're gonna ruin your shoes. And she's like, no! You're telling me that wasn't a Gryffindor thing?
I just think it was an emotional outburst thing. That's her person. She believed that she was going to be proposed to that night. Imagine it happening to you as a Slytherin.
I would not break down in front
Like,
of
you'd have an outburst. You would be really fucking upset.
I would not break down in front of strangers. Absolutely not.
There are different kinds of Slytherins, Lauren. Loki would break down in front of strangers.
Yeah, but he wouldn't break down like that.
And cry?
Yes, we've seen him not break down like that. When Mobius was like, oh, you love Sylvie? You love her? You fucking weirdo? And he's like...
Are you telling me that they don't cry? Slytherins don't cry in front of others?
No, I'm saying he doesn't have a breakdown like that. It's not an emotional breakdown where you're showing your underbelly. Not in front of strangers.
Sure, but you can, just like anyone else in the world, have a momentary lapse of weakness, and she bounced back pretty fucking hard from it. Pretty hard. Like, she got her ass into Harvard based on sheer, like, just willpower. She willed her way in.
She worked really hard for it.
She worked extremely hard. She made it happen in a short period of time. She gave up what was important to her to do it, which I think is really hard for a Gryffindor to do. And
what'd she give up?
Greek night.
Oh my God. Oh my fucking God.
But in a more real sense, time with her friends, time with her sorority, like, she was so driven, like, solely focused on getting Warner back that she got into a hugely prestigious law school just to do it. And in the process, found how ambitious and intelligent she is. Like, she goes so beyond that. Obviously, it's the plot of the movie, right? She goes so much further than what her goal was. Her goal changes, and she adapts something that is very self-centered. She's about herself at the end of that movie. Her career, her life, her goals. She's not there to be responsible for anyone. Doesn't give a shit about that. Except maybe you want to say her dog, which is not a person. So she doesn't feel obligated or responsible to people. I wouldn't put her in Gryffindor. Gryffindors tend to have a person they're really responsible for and, like, beat themselves up for. I don't see that with her.
I think Elle used the law as a way to be responsible for people. She was extremely responsible for Brooke. She would not give up that alibi.
I think that a Slytherin wouldn't either. I really don't think a Slytherin would give it up.
To further their career, or like it's not like she had a super deep connection to Brooke. She took her Pilates class like 4 years ago.
Connected to her.
She felt responsible for her alibi.
I don't know if she
did. This is.
Come on, Slytherins feel responsible for keeping secrets.
Also, Elle absolutely feels responsible for Delta Nu. That's what this was surrounding. Brooke was another.
You could say that's community-based then, too. You could make that argument for Hufflepuff.
She's not trying to fit in. She's already there. She feels responsible for upholding and supporting Delta Nu sisters. Brooke was another Delta Nu. She went to visit Brooke as a Delta Nu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lauren, you are the only person in my whole life who has never talked about me behind my back to other people.
How do you know?
My business. Because I know you don't. And you've told me you haven't. And I've talked to other people and they didn't know things.
They didn't know
Yeah, I do. I really do because I think you have integrity. No, it's just happened, you know?
Yeah, but that's because you're my person, not to get super, cheesy. But Brooke wasn't anybody to her.
But come on. She finds that community as something that she is extremely connected to. It's sisterhood. It's sisterhood. It's like you and the supernatural family.
I would keep the secret of every person because they belong to the supernatural family. It's not like that. You can't throw a blanket over it like that. Like Slytherins can feel this connection with whole swaths and groups of people. It's person by person. Just because you belong to some.
But she feels that Brooke is right and being wronged, and she doesn't. So
like a Gryffindor thing.
Could be a Slytherin thing
too.
No,
it's not. Slytherins are not going to be that morally certain of themselves.
Yes, they can be.
Morally, no. Morally, I would question whether I would have to look at a lot of factors in a legal situation where it's did this person kill somebody? I would go through a lot of evidence and a lot of logistical. I would not in my gut go, endorphins make people happy, and happy people just don't kill their husbands. They just don't. I would not gut instinct be like that.
Cher could make that argument if you put her in law school. I'm clueless. She could.
Cher would go through the facts.
Very clear Slytherin.
But that one argument that we hear Cher make, she went through logistical facts. She didn't gut instinct say those things. She did her version of studying and making comparisons.
It's not a gut instinct to say endorphins make you happy. That's a scientific fact.
Elle heard that Brooke killed. No, Elle heard they were Brooke killed her husband, and she's like, "Oh, she's a Delta Nu." She didn't do it. That's immediately. That's immediately what.
She had an opinion.
It wasn't an opinion. She was like, she didn't do it, and I'll get the alibi, and then I won't tell anybody the alibi because it's not needed. We won't be very good lawyers if we can't prove it without the alibi.
Mm-hmm. Sure. You're telling me Slytherins don't ever get a gut feeling?
Yeah, sometimes we do, but we don't act on it like that. We need facts to back it up. If I am wrong and I look wrong, it's the worst thing in the world to ever happen to me ever.
I see a lot of Slytherins take risks, though, based on a feeling that they're right about something.
Yeah, but...
Jeff Winger does it a lot.
Okay, but in that instance or in that environment, that's not the type of thing you can do. If you look wrong in that sort of instance where it's your career and you want to be a lawyer and lawyers are based on winning, on being right, you can't do that. Jeff does it to the fucking stupid community college group because he can. Because it's easy for him to manipulate all these people. But when Jeff goes with the other lawyer guys, you see Jeff start to get a little more thinky about what he's doing.
Because he's more sure of himself in that circle. Elle is like that with her Delta Nus.
No, I'm saying that Jeff knows that he needs to not be wrong when he's around other lawyers or when he's in a professional career situation.
And I think it was deeply embarrassing for Elle to go back to the Delta Nus and to not have a ring on her finger because she knew she didn't want to look like that in front of them or go back and be embarrassed that way. Have her heart ripped out.
I don't think she felt like that at all.
You don't think that she went back? The whole opening scene is them making a card for her and wishing her well on her way. You don't think she was deeply sad that she had to walk back in there without a ring?
No, I do not think that she was embarrassed or worried about them. She's trusts them as No, because also this kind of goes.
Okay, well, a Gryffindor would be.
Why? If you're responsible for these people, Dean Winchester would not worry that Sam was going to be...
What he thinks of him?
Not what he thinks of him, but he wouldn't worry about that sort of thing. Like, he wouldn't be embarrassed to come back after a failure. Sam wouldn't be like that towards him.
No, he wouldn't. But how do you know what a bunch of sorority girls are going to be like?
Because they're her...
She can't know.
But she's the president of...
They're her people, right? They're her circle.
She's the president of Delta Nu. She feels responsible for them. She feels connected to them. And she knows that they wouldn't treat her like that because she doesn't treat them like that. Like, that's how Elle works in her head.
Okay, but things also... Failure doesn't even cross Elle's mind, ever. When she's faced with it, she cries for, like, a second and then gets back up on the horse and does it. And she's like, of course I can do this. It's
cry.
me.
Like, the movie went fast, but she didn't cry for just a second. She broke down in front of Warner, and then she had, like, a week of being holed up in her room where nobody could go visit her. She didn't break out of it until she figured out that there was something that she could do, that there was a way forward.
Okay, well, let's take it back. Because it's a movie, you don't have many instances of, like, judging every little thing. It's not like a season's worth of information here. Let's just take it back to what she's motivated by. Okay, and I think she's very motivated by self-assuredness, being determined, and making something of herself that she's proud of. That's what I think she's motivated by. I think she wants to be proud of herself. I don't know that I see that as a Gryffindor thing. What do you think she's motivated by?
You don't see that as a Gryffindor thing?
No.
You don't think Gryffindors want to feel fulfilled and validated in who they are?
Everyone wants to feel fulfilled and validated, but if your core thing is that, I don't think that's a Gryffindor. I think most Gryffindors things, like their core things, are, taking care of other people and being responsible for everything that goes fucking wrong in the world and a bunch of other
so
things.
Elle is the president of a sorority. She never lets go of the sorority. She becomes a lawyer, and she didn't want to be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. She discovered being a lawyer.
Right.
Yeah,
Her ambition led her there.
It wasn't. I don't see Elle as self-concerned. I really don't. I think she is very self-assured, but I don't think she is self-motivated or self-centered. I
disagree. When she feels embarrassed by what Vivian did to her and how Warner was behaving, she immediately wants to prove herself as something better. Because she wants to believe in herself. She does believe in herself more than so many other characters that we've sorted. She really, truly believes in herself and her ability to.
Yeah, but that's not self-centeredness. She's not.
Well, I'm not. But not every Slytherin has to be so crazily self-centered.
No, but I'm not saying that she's not self. She's not about herself at all. She's not concerned. She's not like, oh, these people think I'm dumb, and that's I want them to make sure that I'm not dumb. She knows that. No,
she's concerned about her opinion with herself and what she can do. She wants to prove to herself that she's good enough for Callahan's group and that she can make it into Harvard, that she can win Warner back, that she can do all these things. She's not concerned about what all little voices around her. No, she's concerned with what she thinks of herself, which is crazy Slytherin to me.
She already knows.
Y'all care a lot about what you think about your own view of yourself.
She already knows herself. She knows herself. She's doing this. She's like, I'll show you who's serious each time. She's like, I am right in this. I belong at Harvard. I can be a lawyer. I can pass the LSAT. I can do these things, and I know all of this. And the only reason that I'm doing it is because this is what feels right now. Like, if I can do these things, I should do these things. And I do think that she feels a little bit of needing to have that validated in real world terms. She's like, people see this outward appearance of me, and fine. I've been doing what I want, and I'm totally sure of myself. I've been a fashion major. I made faux fur panties. I got into Harvard by making like this video of me in a bikini, and like, I'm totally assured of myself. And now I'm just going to do it, and this is what's right to do because I can do it. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know. It's
right. She can and she does it. It's it's very Slytherin to me. Everything you're saying.
It's much more. Like, the closest person that I'm thinking of is that it's much more Harry Potter to me, where he's like, I am fairly sure of who I am and what's important to me, and because I can do these things, I should do these things for other people. Like, when she, like, talking about the second movie again is, like, you know, she is a lawyer and she quits her job as a lawyer because the firm that she is a part of represents the lipstick company that's testing on animals. So she like is like, this is why we shouldn't do this, and like I really think you should talk to. And she's like, I just don't think I can work for people who believe that. And they're like, fine, then you can leave. And she's like, fucking fine. Like I'll get out of here.
It still feels very Slytherin.
No, it doesn't to me, like, because you would figure out a way to work within it or whatever.
No, I don't think that you could handle working for a place that you feel is like morally corrupt in some way. I think that you could do it if you didn't have a personal vested interest in what they were being more corrupt about. Like, if it's just corruption that doesn't affect you, sure, a Slytherin could do that. But if it's something that affects you and something you care about, you could walk away from your job.
I need a plan. And she didn't have a plan at that point. She cried again. She cried, damn it. She was like, I don't know what to do next. I don't have a job, and you're dating a unemployed lady who gets to get married.
I can't believe you're trying to tell me that these emotional outbursts are not Slytherin when Bella spends 4 months catatonic in a
It's not an emotional outburst, is it?
It's not. She goes catatonic. She screams herself awake every night with nightmares. She sobs to Charlie. She's a wreck, a shell of a human.
Yeah, it's not I guess I'm thinking of emotional, like fiery. Ella's also very fiery. She bites back.
Yeah, but Slytherins can be.
They can be, but I think Elle's core motivation is like righteousness, and that she is responsible for she's like, I want Bruiser's mom to be at my wedding. And then all of a sudden, she's responsible for every single animal.
Are you putting her in Gryffindor because you think she's ridiculous?
What?
Are you putting her in Gryffindor because you think she's ridiculous?
No, I don't think she's ridiculous. I admire her. Okay. I wish I could do the shit she does. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what? Like, it's hard to get into Harvard? I wish that was me. Like,
I don't know. Okay. Many of your arguments, solid. I just don't see any other Gryffindors that are that self-assured. Like, you could say Harry Potter. Harry's constantly doubting himself too, though. Like, if he can actually pull something off or not. He just jumps into things. That's a very Gryffindor thing. Like, if I die, I die. You know? And I don't see so much of that in Elle.
Too. Are you kidding me? She goes into court. She does not know what she's doing when they're like, Callahan's out, you're in.
She doesn't, but she believes in herself that she can do it.
She jumps in without a plan. She doesn't have any sort of, like, evidence built up. She asks the same question, like, enough times for the judge to get annoyed with her. Like, she hits it. It's like the lawyer, like, non-high-stakes rom-com version of If I Die, I Die. She's like, I'm going to go be on the stand, and, whatever happens is what's going to happen. Like.
I don't know, because you have Slytherins like Loki who don't always have a plan.
Loki always has a plan.
You think that, he sure wants you to think.
It's a fucking stupid plan, but he's always got something going. Like, he's not the smartest. It's like, I'm just thinking of her walking down the stairs with all the reporters, like, Elle, how did you figure this out? And she's like, the laws of hair care are finite. Any Elle girl would know, or like any Cosmo girl would know them. Like, she's just like, she had no idea. She's just going, it's like, it's so, I don't know. To me, Elle is just so. And, like, I know you're reading this as, like, she works really hard for it and it's ambition or whatever, but I don't see it as, like, she made her audition, her admissions tape the best it could be or whatever, and, like, in her essay and blah, 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 blah. She's just being Elle, and it's just working out for her, is what's happening. Like, she's not.
I know, but she is so unapologetically herself.
Yeah.
Always.
But I don't understand why you're saying that could only be a Slytherin.
I'm not saying it could only be a Slytherin. It's just that self-assuredness is so.
But I've seen
so
self-assured Gryffindors, especially when you guys beat the paradox. When you guys beat it, when you're like healthy Gryffindors, which I think Elle is. Like, when she gets back, she gets past that cycle, because you see it a little bit when Warner's like, you're not serious because you're blonde. You see her, like, she's going to dye her hair brunette. You see her, like, I know I'm great, but this guy told me I'm not great. And if I'm not with him, like, I must not be great, like, blah, blah, blah. And she immediately snaps it when they're like, she, like, is looking at the magazine, and she's like, this is the kind of girl Warner wants. He wants someone serious. And she's like, I can be serious. Like, what the fuck am I talking about? And then she goes and talks to her, like, admissions officer, and she's like, you're not going to get into Harvard. And Elle's like, oh, no, I don't have any backups. I'm going to Harvard. Like, you know, she's like, she's there. She's like, I think she's an extremely healthy Gryffindor.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. I had no doubts about it. I really was just like,
I'm trying.
Very confident.
Why I'm connecting her to Harry so much, and I think it's because, like, despite it all, Harry is fairly healthy. Like, it's insane that he is, but he is fairly, like, he's got good friends, and he's
just got.
Harry's problem is he's got the weight of
trauma up the wazoo,
which
the makes you mature.
Him, right? You know, so like that's the problem too.
I also think I don't think that Gryffindors seek often positions of leadership, or like we're often like thrust into one, like unwillingly, and she very much is out there seeking like higher positions and pushing herself forward with ambition and drive, which are just such Slytherin,
I think Gryffindors are
core
natural
things.
Leaders. And I think
sure they're natural leaders, but don't necessarily always seek it out. It's always like okay, I guess I have to do this.
I also think that's an unhealthy Gryffindor thing. Where, like, if you were given room to grow and you weren't pushed into the position where there was like, you're the only one who can do this, so you have to do it. If you're given the room, like Elle, for her to be like, she went to fashion merchandising school, and then she decided to go to Harvard, and then she naturally grew out of, oh, I love being a lawyer, and I love helping people. And she, like, naturally just grew into that, and I think Gryffindor are natural-born leaders. It's just that a lot of the nerds like to talk about this, that stories and fiction are often trauma-based or conflict-based, so we always see characters in stress. Legally Blonde is a rom-com, and the biggest stress is that Warner breaks up with her. So it's not...
Right. You don't see the relationship with the parents who just, they don't take her seriously, but they support whatever she wants to do. They throw money at it.
Her dad pays for freaking Harvard. Like, he's like,
her friends are very supportive.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of, she has a lot of good support going for her. I will say she may be, you're going to hate me. What if she's on the cusp? Like, she's a Gryffindor right at the edge.
No,
like,
she's one or the other.
Touch. No, I'm not saying she's on a line. I'm saying, like, if you make them touch, Slytherin and Gryffindor, like, you see the merge going in, she's, like, one notch over. Because she has a lot of Slytherin in her. You can't tell me she doesn't. You can't.
She doesn't have any. She's a Gryffindor. She's, you know what? She's like Amy. She's like Amy Sosa.
I don't see that. I don't see that. Come on. Amy's an insecure mess. She's a mess.
When Amy grows into herself at the end, that's kind of like where Elle's been the entire time. She's still,
like, emotionally ridiculous.
Okay, but you take a healthy version of Amy, so, like, the emotional bits are just when Elle's crying over Warner.
But I can't get a healthy Amy because that's not Amy.
You're saying Gryffindors don't choose responsibility or leadership, and Amy absolutely does.
No, I think she does that so that she can get more money and support her child. Okay, but whatever. I don't see Elle as having any responsibilities, which was why I couldn't put her there. If you want to say her responsibilities are to causes, fine, but to me, typically...
That is such a thing.
Right? Okay.
That is such a thing throughout the movies. Like, they keep bringing it up.
So sisterhood.
Yeah, sisterhood.
That's just loyalty, though. That's not feeling responsible for.
But no,
loyalty.
But it's not loyalty, because loyalty is just making sure that you don't break it or whatever. Ella's actively upholding it. Like, she makes sure other people practice it. She brings the frickin' snap cup to Congress and makes them all put compliments in the snap cup because they're arguing. Like, she upholds the tenets. She doesn't just subscribe to them. She, like, actively pushes them on others.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you a Gryffindor.
No, I'm saying that makes her responsible. She feels responsible in doing this.
Okay.
She's
Adults
like
knew her children. I don't know.
I don't know. She's like the patron saint of like whatever sisterhood.
I will look. I'll tell you, she can't be in Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff. She just can't be.
No,
it doesn't fit there. So for me, it is sure it's between the two. I just have never seen a Gryffindor like her, so this is weird. You're making great arguments. It's just that's weird, Lauren. You think Diana's healthy?
She's not as broken as the rest of them.
I guess.
Especially at the beginning, right? Before we take her away from her homeland.
Yeah.
And
okay. Okay. All right. You fixed the problem I had in my brain. I needed someone. I could not place Elle anywhere in there. I was like, what? Yeah. Okay.
I'd put her near Diana on the scale.
All right. I'll fold.
And Jamie. Right after Dana, right before Jamie.
Yeah. That's true. Wow. Interesting. Hey,
nobody knows what we're talking about because we put out those scales like 6 months ago and they're like, what the hell? Our fake science has scales.
We'll do new updated ones as more episodes come out, and we'll, as we get closer to the Subpod anniversary,
we're so interested.
We'll revisit.
Oh my God, November 17th, a broken day for us all. But
we'll bring more joy back into the world.
It wasn't a broken day because it came out 2 days before. So November 19th is the broken day.
We were like a broken month, Lauren. Yeah. Talking about
the beginning of the month is happy. It's beautiful.
It was. Go listen to our Destiel episode. I can't believe you actually got me on with Gryffindor. I wouldn't. Yeah, no, I was really like, wow, I can't see her anywhere else.
But then you were arguing with me, and I got mad. So.
Yeah, I didn't care at all anyway. So I'm like, sure. Yeah, but no, it fits, and it's funny because I said to you, I was like, are you putting her there because she's ridiculous? And when I said it, I was like, oh, she is ridiculous. She does belong in Gryffindor. And I was like, wait, no, Rachel, think of all the arguments you had.
I didn't think you didn't mean that when you said it. I was just trying to be like, it's not just because she's ridiculous.
It's not just, yeah. It's a big reason. No, when she throws the chocolate at the fucking general hospital.
Liar! I could not believe.
I'm like, okay, me.
I could not believe you were like, those outbursts weren't very Gryffindor. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? When she's walking beside the car and she's going, and Warner's like, Pooh Bear, get in the car. And she's like, no.
Literally, Cher does the same thing.
When
with Elton.
No, she doesn't.
She gets out of the car and walks aside the car, and she's like, "No, I'm not getting back
in."
She's
mad at Elton. She's like, "You
right? Well, if she had her feelings hurt,
you assaulted me." No, Cher was not like that at all. The guy holds her up at gunpoint, and she's like, "This isn't a liar," and then he makes her get on the ground, and then she calls Josh, and she's like,
"I just think you don't."
She's still not even freaking out about it. She's like, Josh, this guy stole my dress. Or like, he messed it up. And Josh is like, all right.
Yeah, she is. She's crying over the dress.
She's not really. She's putting on a hysterical. She's like, Josh, come pick me up. Because then he's like, where are you? And she's like, the valley. And he's like, oh, you owe me. Like, she knew what she was building up to. She's like, you need to drive an hour to come get me.
I like immediately need to find a Slytherin who had a sobbing outburst. Like, I need it right now. I need it. Like, Bella in her sleep didn't quite work. Veronica cries. Veronica cries.
She's never freaked out. She's never freaked out like that. I'm even thinking of fucking, I don't care, spoilers. When Aaron Eccles locks her in the fridge and then sets everything on fire, she's like freaking out, but she's hysterical. She's about to die. She's not like crying.
I'll find one, Lauren.
Like, all right,
I'll find one.
Because that's the most that I can think that Veronica ever did, when she was locked in a fucking fridge and it was on fire, and she was like, Dad! And she was like hyperventilating the hell. I would also hyperventilate if the fridge I was in was on fire. But
I'm now making it my mission in life to
find a Slytherin
show that you're not all cold and that you have emotionally
broken down.
I'll find one.
Not in private, in front of other people.
In front of others. Okay. Loki screams in front of other people all the time.
But he's like doing anger shit, right? He's not being genuinely like, I'm sad. He's like, you'll rue the day that you like Lois. You know, like, he's like,
grabbing it with like his fist in the air. It's so perfectly a character. You guys, what a house. I can't imagine not having emotional outbursts and crying in front of people. I'll do it right now.
I was thinking about,
whatever.
I guess I'll
win.
say it now. I was trying to think of a character that I could say this about, and I was like, damn it, I should have said it during the Slytherin episode, and I didn't even think it then. But, like, I was like, Slytherins never half-ass things. It's always whole ass. We always give our whole ass, and it does not matter if it's, like, stupid. Once we've committed, like, it's happening. So, like, you see it with Loki all the time. He does not ever half-ass his idiotic plans. Like, he's going all in on them.
No, you see it with Bella, too. She's literally chasing a ghost and, like, getting on motorcycles and cracking her head open like a coconut. And she's like, this is dumb, but I'll get what I want at the end. Fucking guys. Imagine having a plan.
I love our house. It's great. Yeah, man, any plan. Even when we're like, this is a stupid plan. We have something to do. Like, I'm going to put my all into it. Let's go.
I'll save it for the episode that we actually sort it, but that is why I have opinions on the characters of, you know what? No, I'm not going to say it. Never mind. Never mind. But yeah, all right. I've considered.
When we stop recording, you can tell me, and I can tell you the Ravenclaw that I think is family.
Oh, I can't wait. We got to go, guys. So this will be out right in time for you to be preparing for going back to school, going back to class.
And please be safe.
Teach.
Please be safe.
Yeah, be
Rachel's
safe out there.
So I'm going to be worried about her, but
no, my state legally mandates.
I saw that vaccines and masks. I saw that today, but
which of course we
still be safe because and children are having a lot of trouble now too going back to school. So
yeah, look, it's an ugly old world out there, but we're here in your ears, in your earbuds.
Wow, turn off your phone! What the hell?
It's not my phone. It's
so rude.
Metal screw that's on my desk. Hopefully my desk doesn't just shatter right now while I'm still recording. Let's find out. As I said, we'll be there to accompany you through all the madness. It'll get better if we can be tough together. In my state, in New York, we say we're New York tough, so yeah.
Nice.
I know, it's so cringy.
We're Chicago's the second city, you know why? Because, it burned down in the Chicago fire. So it was built up again. So, like, second city is like a pride thing. Like, hey, we're here again.
To be fair, to be fair, the New York tough thing only came when COVID hit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not like a thing we said before.
Well, second city is a thing.
Before we just said, forget about it, you dead ass.
Our next episode is our first repeat. We're doing Community, which we've already done.
Oh, I can't
But we
wait.
have not talked about Ovid and Troy. And Shirley.
Dude.
Yours doesn't get to be talked about. Maybe he will.
I took a personality test. And do you know who I got from Community?
Britta.
Fucking Troy.
Did you really?
Yeah, I got Troy.
I can see that.
That's okay.
Although
I can't.
Spoiler, you're not in Troy's house, so.
I'm not. No, but part of Troy is in me. So.
Which part?
It's all right. Part of Troy is in me. The part of his house that he is, I got some of it in me. Yeah. Okay. We'll talk more about that when we get to the community episode, though. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to sort them. Very exciting. Oh, yay. I have an excuse to watch
I was going to say
again.
after we watch the show. So,
Woohoo!
Anyway.
Well, good luck to us. We have a lot of shit to watch.
I was just thinking about that. I have to rewatch the show that we don't like so we can talk. Yeah.
Yep. YouTube compilations, here I come.
You'll never know what show I don't like. I'll never tell you.
Yeah, it's...
No, don't say.
Okay, friends. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. And if you disagree, please feel free to let us know. Legally Blonde is a very much beloved movie by many. So do let us know if you disagree.
And the third one's coming out soon. They made it.
Is it really?
They made it, yeah.
No
Reese
way.
said they started shooting like last summer, so I assume it's made.
What? Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. We should have waited.
No, it's going to take too long because the world's burning.
All right. True dat. Okay, well, thank you for following us along on this journey.
See you next
We
time.
appreciate ya. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Sort of Brilliant. If our sorting choices inspired any rage or excitement, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to feedback, suggestions for characters to sort, and solid counter-arguments with citations.
Never forget your citations. You can find us hanging out on Twitter and Instagram at SOB_pod or shoot us an email at sortofbrilliant@gmail.com.
And since we're not above begging, please rate and subscribe to Sort of Brilliant on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please share our posts on social media. And if you're a Gryffindor, maybe you'll inspire sorting fights among your own friend group.
The theme music is Hot Shot by Scott Holmes. Can't wait to sort with you again next time. Bye!